So, are your sales numbers just stuck? No matter what you do, they're not budging? Well, you are definitely not alone. But what if I told you the solution isn't where you think it is? Over the next few minutes, we're going to dig into a huge mistake most businesses are making, and I'll show you the AI-powered formula that's going to change the game for the rest of this decade.
Okay, let's just start with a pretty serious warning here. The ground is literally shifting under our feet. This formula we're about to break down, it's not some nice-to-have strategy. Nope, it's quickly becoming a must-have, like for survival. If you stick to the old ways of doing things, you're not just taking a risk, you're pretty much signing up to be left behind. So let's make sure that doesn't happen to you, right?
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. When sales dip, we all have that knee-jerk reaction to blame one specific thing. But what if that blame is exactly what's holding you back? This is a huge misunderstanding, and trust me, it costs companies a fortune and causes so much frustration.
You know the drill, right? It's the classic blame game. The numbers go down, and instantly, everyone's looking at the sales team. You hear things like, we've got a closing problem, or our people just aren't strong enough negotiators. But what if we're pointing our finger at the completely wrong person? What if the real problem isn't the final handshake at all, but everything that was supposed to happen way before that?
So here it is, the hard truth. When your sales are tanking, it's not a sales problem, it's a marketing problem. The real failure isn't happening at the moment of purchase, when your team asks for the credit card. No, it's happening weeks, maybe even months, before a salesperson ever gets involved.
Okay, to really get this, we have to totally reframe how we think about marketing. And I've got the perfect analogy for it. It's super simple, super powerful, and I promise you, once you hear this, you will never look at sales the same way again.
I want you to forget about clicks, views, leads, all that stuff, just for a second. The one and only job of marketing is to create desire. That's it, pure and simple. Your job is to build such an intense want for your product that by the time a customer even thinks about talking to a salesperson, they're already 90% of the way there. They've already decided.
And this is where the analogy just clicks. Think about it. If you do a terrible job courting someone, I mean, no dates, no real talks, zero connection, and then out of the blue you propose marriage, what do you think the answer is going to be? It's going to be a no, right? But if you've done an incredible job courting them, if they're already smitten, then popping the question is just the easy, natural next step. The yes is pretty much a sure thing.
I mean, just look at the masters of this game. Think about Apple. When a new iPhone drops, do you see them desperately trying to sell people in the store? Of course not. The desire has been building to a fever pitch for months. People line up expecting to throw their money at them. That is the goal. Because let me tell you, even the greatest salesperson on the planet can't manufacture that level of desire from scratch.
Okay, so we're all on the same page. Marketing is the root of the problem. But this brings us to the next huge mistake people make. It's that gut reaction when your marketing just isn't working. It's not creating that desire we talked about. And what they do feels logical, but it's actually like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Yeah, this is where people get it, as our source so perfectly put it, 360 degrees wrong. Which, means you just end up right back where you started, having gone in a full circle. The gut reaction when a piece of content flops is to just, what? Throw more money at it. They try to force a connection that just isn't there.
So the rule here is super simple. Stop paying to amplify failure. If your content isn't getting any traction on its own, paying for ads just means you're paying to annoy more people with something they don't care about. What you should do is find the stuff that is working. Find the content that's already getting some love, some engagement, and pour your ad money on that. Amplify your winners, never your losers.
All right, so now we know what not to do. So what's the right way to make content that actually builds that intense desire we're aiming for? Well, this leads us right to the core formula. It's all about giving, giving, giving before you even think about asking.
The whole philosophy is actually borrowed from boxing. You don't just run into the ring and throw a wild haymaker. You set it up, right? You use jabs. Well, in marketing, your jabs are all about giving. You give value, you help your audience, you build trust. You just give and give and give again. Then, and only then, do you throw the right hook, which is the ask. So what does giving actually look like? Well, first, you give away valuable knowledge. Share what you know, no strings attached. That builds your authority. Second, you correct common myths in your industry. Bust those misconceptions. That builds trust. And third, you tell compelling stories about you, about your customers. That builds an emotional connection. See, after you've done all that, the final ask doesn't feel like a pushy sales pitch.
It just feels like the obvious next step.
And this brings us to the final and honestly the most critical piece of the puzzle. Having the right philosophy, give first, create desire, that's absolutely essential. But in the world we live in today, doing it on a small scale just won't cut it. You have to do it at a volume that literally dominates the conversation. And that is where AI completely changes the game. Look, we are walking right into an era of insane content overload, and it's all being driven by AI. The noise level is about to go through the roof. Trying to compete in that environment with just 1 or 2 posts a week? You might as well bring a knife to a gunfight. Volume is no longer optional. It's a non-negotiable.
So, what kind of volume are we really talking about here? And this is going to sound crazy, but to be a real market leader in the next few years, to be so present you're basically unavoidable, the new benchmark isn't 1 piece of content a day. It's not even 10. It's 30. 30 pieces of valuable content every single day. So let's break that down. If you're posting once a day, sorry, but you're basically invisible. You're just part of the noise. Bumping it up to 10 to 20 pieces a day? Okay, now you're in the game, you're competing, but you're always at risk of being drowned out by someone bigger. But when you hit that 30 plus a day mark, you don't just join the conversation, you become the conversation. You are everywhere your ideal customer looks, constantly giving value and building that desire at a massive scale.
Now, I know what you're thinking. 30 pieces a day? That sounds totally impossible for one person or even a small team, right? And you know what? It used to be, but this is the magic of the AI workflow. It's not about creating 30 unique things from scratch. No way! It's about creating one really good, long piece of content. Think a live Q&A, a webinar, a deep dive video. Then you just feed that one piece to AI tools that act like your own personal army of editors. They instantly find and chop up dozens of powerful, shareable short clips for you. So 1 hour of your time can become an entire day's worth of content that dominates everywhere.
And there you have it. That is the complete formula. It's the roadmap for the future of sales. So let's recap. First, you change your mindset. Marketing's only job is to create desire. Second, you actually do it with a give, then ask content strategy. And third, you scale the whole thing with AI, so you have a dominant, can't-miss presence. That, my friends, is how you win.
So, the final question is a simple one, and it's for you. This isn't some guess about a far-off future. This is happening right now. The tools are here. The strategy is clear. The only thing left in the equation is you. So are you ready to adapt? Or are you just going to sit back and hope the future decides to wait for you?